So I did a video about a year ago talking about 5 different roles in the insurance industry, and I'm back today with 5 more.
You in the past, I'm in the future. You mad that they don't salute you. I need a...
Thank you guys so much for clicking on this video. If you're new here, my name is Keila Trishawn, and I make videos on lifestyle, insurance, and mental health. I also do vlogs, day in the life in the insurance industry, day in the life with a toddler, all the things. So if that's something that interests you, go on ahead and click that subscribe button below. Be sure to turn on your notifications so you don't miss anything from me. And if you're returning, thank you so much for coming back, and thank you for your support. Okay, so as I preface, I do want to kind of discuss some other roles in the insurance industry. There is more to insurance than just what I do or a desk adjuster, things like that. So if you are interested in getting into insurance and you just kind of want to know some different roles, like kind of what it looks like if you move up or just like entry-level jobs, definitely go on ahead and stay tuned. Okay, so the first role that I want to discuss is what is called an FNOL rep. What that stands for is first notice of loss. So this role can be called different things at different companies. Sometimes it might just be a claims representative, but the best way I can explain it, it's kind of like a call center position. And essentially you would be taking in calls for new claims. So for example, if someone just got into a car accident and they're calling in to just let the insurance company know that they have a new claim, this person would be the one taking that call and taking like the first notice of loss, taking the details on what happened, who the person is, their policy number, things like that. And then usually from that person, it's passed on to an actual adjuster that's going to be handling it. So this particular role honestly is good if you are brand new to insurance and you're not really ready for an adjuster role yet. You kind of want to just get your feet wet. This is a good way to get into it. One thing I can say is that the phones can be fast paced, especially when you're trying to capture information. And it really does take some practice to kind of know what to listen for, what questions to ask, and all that stuff. So I do think that this is a good role to kind of introduce you to that before you get into an adjuster role, if that's too overwhelming for you. Not every company offers this. Sometimes like companies will just simply use the desk adjuster to do this portion too, but most adjusters work like an 8 to 5 type schedule. So these adjusters usually are employed or are working around the clock. So you've got obviously people that will work overnight. You have people that would work like a middle shift, day shift, that kind of thing. So this would be good if you need like flexible hours, because a lot of times if a company does offer this type of position, it's going to be available at all hours of the day because of the fact that claims can happen at all hours of the day. So depending on what department you're in, they may have you only take auto calls, they may have you only take homeowner calls, or they may have you taking just kind of like a mixture of all of the different claims. Basically, you're just capturing that initial information, the pertinent information that the adjuster is going to need to be able to like reach out to the person and get more information. So this is a good job, again, if you are looking for something like entry level, super basic, but not ready to start handling claims just yet. Okay, so the second role that I wanted to discuss is a subrogation representative or subrogation adjuster. Kind of depends on the company, like what they name this role. But basically, you'll be working in a department that tries to collect. So just to kind of give a brief overview of what subrogation does, they go after the responsible party after the insurance company pays. So for example, if this person hit you and it's clear that they are at fault, your insurance company will pay for your damages up front if you're filing a claim through your insurance company. And then once everything is paid out and you're taken care of and the claim is closed, then that file is transferred over to the subrogation department, so they can now reach out to that person's insurance and collect the money that your insurance paid out. So there's going to be subrogation for every department. I work in homeowners, and I'm pretty sure I've kind of discussed it like maybe surface level in some videos. But for us, let's say there's like a washing machine overflow and the washing machine was installed by Home Depot. We know that likely it was Home Depot's fault. So we would pay for the customer's damages up front, but we would send it to subrogation. So subrogation can now go after Home Depot to pay us back for what we paid. So essentially, your job is going to be kind of after the claim has already been taken care of, you would step in and reach out to the pertinent companies. In some cases, you're going to have contact with the customer, like if you need more information on an invoice or if you need more information on like contact info for a company or something like that. But a lot of times you're going to be working with either the other insurance company that's involved, or you're going to be working with the other business, contractor, person, that kind of thing. So your job is essentially to collect. Now, the thing with this position is it can be either or. I've seen some companies offer it like entry level, kind of like a subrogation trainee type role, but I've also seen some companies where they want you to come in as a claims representative to see how a claim actually works from start to finish, and then it's something that you can apply for, you know, after you have experience in that claims role. So it kind of depends on the company and what they expect, but essentially what I think is cool about this position is it's not completely customer facing, and it seems to me, I've never done the job, but just from what I know, it seems pretty cut and dry. Like, I think that their metrics is going to be more like how much can they recover. Insurance companies recover a lot through their subrogation departments, and so a lot of times they are on their adjusters to make sure that if there's an opportunity for there to be subrogation, if there's an opportunity for us to be able to recover that money and basically keep the insurance company afloat, then we're going to send that information over to subrogation so those reps can do their role. So that's something to look at if you're interested in insurance. Like, if you don't want to work kind of on the front end, subrogation is more of like a back end type role. Okay, so the third role that I wanted to discuss is going to be the role of a claims trainer. Now, this role is very broad because there are so many different types of trainers and claims. So I'll kind of give you some examples of each. So you're going to have your, what I like to call desk trainers. And the reason why I call them desk trainers is because they're essentially teaching you like the policy. So they're going over the actual policy, showing you where to look for different information, showing you how to read it. And they do this usually through like scenarios. So you'll have several scenarios, and this is usually for like new adjusters coming in, or like new adjusters, whether you have experience or not. So they're going to give you different scenarios and then kind of teach you where to look in the policy to see if that's covered or not covered, and just kind of give you advice on how to move through your claims. So these adjusters typically work in an office, or with obviously everything after the pandemic, sometimes these things are going to be virtual. So these adjusters don't usually go out with you. Like, if you're a field adjuster, these adjusters are more there to kind of explain to you policy and like process. So they're teaching you like maybe how to use the system, how to like troubleshoot, things like that. And you're going to also have your field trainers. So these trainers are going to be like, for example, for what I do, they're going to be teaching me how to look at materials in homeowners, or like if you work in auto, they're going to be teaching you how to look at like materials for vehicles. So the field adjuster, a lot of times, not only are they available to you virtually, but they may be going out with you on inspections or to body shops. If it's that type of claims trainer, they're essentially there to kind of be your support and to train you and answer your questions. The one thing about these roles is I do feel like you have to have a lot of patience, because not everybody learns at the same pace. You're gonna have some people that are very quick learners where you only have to tell them something 1 or 2 times and they got it, or maybe they take really good notes. So, you know, whereas they may have a question, they've taken notes, so they already have that information. But you're gonna have people that need to ask you, you know, 3, 4, and 5 times about the same thing, or maybe they're not really good at taking notes or retention. Maybe they need to actually see it. So I do think that it's one of those roles where you have to have a lot of patience, because it can be a deterrent if somebody's coming to you asking a question and you're getting irritated. So that's something to consider if you wanted to go into training. And usually to get into a training role, they're going to want you to have at least like 5 years or so of experience, because you have to know what you're doing. You have to have been exposed to several different types of scenarios to be able to teach someone how to do the job. I am at a point now where I've been asked to train like newer employees. I've told you guys about that with like my previous employer. That one was hilarious, because although I knew what I was doing, like as far as claims, I didn't know what I was doing as far as the system. I just happened to learn it quickly, and they used me as like a pseudo trainer. But even with this role, I've been asked to like have newer adjusters like ride with me and stuff like that. So again, once you get to that point, you may be asked to do certain things, like, you know, show people how to do the job. And if you enjoy it, then it's something that you can apply for later on, where you can be a trainer full time. So that is another like option. That's another role that you can explore if you choose to go into claims. All right, you guys, so moving right along, I wanted to talk about the large loss adjuster as the 4th type of role for today. So a large loss adjuster is going to be specific to the homeowners department, and it's essentially my role, but on a way larger scale. So just to kind of give you context, in my role, I handle simple to, I would say, mildly severe claims. What that means dollar-wise, I'm handling claims from like maybe a couple $100 all the way up to around 100,000. For a large loss adjuster, they typically don't get involved until the claim is around 100,000 or more. So they're handling very severe claims up to total loss. Total loss in home, meaning like a home that completely burned down. All of the contents and, you know, personal property has been destroyed. The person's going to need temporary housing. A lot of times for claims, that temporary housing limit is like 2 years. So you're going to be dealing with claims that are just like on a much bigger scale than like something that I would handle. So this role, for the most part, they're going to want you to have, I typically see like maybe 5 to 7 years of experience, because in order to deal with claims of that magnitude, you really have to know the policy. You really have to have been exposed to different building materials. You have to be really good at investigation, and you just have to kind of like prove yourself to be a candidate in this role. So for people that are in my position that have been doing the role for a little bit, a lot of times this is kind of like the next logical step. And what I can say is with those adjusters, they may get less claims like per month. So like where for me, I typically get anywhere from like 8 to 10 claims in a week. That's like kind of like my like workload, depending on like what's going on. For a large loss adjuster, they may only get like 1 or 2 claims a week, just because they're so complex and they can take such a long time. Now, there are going to be some claims that are, even though they're big in dollar amount, they may be a little more cut and dry than like that first example that I gave, where the home is a complete total loss and you're going to be working on this claim for a couple of years, or there is a lot of investigation that needs to be done in it. So it is, I would say it's not less work. Like, it's less claims, but they're just bigger claims. So if that's something that interests you, and if you really love like homeowner claims, and you know you're really good with the policy, you don't get overwhelmed easily, I should say that, because those types of claims, especially like depending on what happened, can be very overwhelming. So if that's something that interests you, it would be something that you would get into after doing my role. So like if you were interested in kind of like working on homes of that size, or claims of that size, should I say, it would be a situation where you really want to do, you know, like maybe a desk homeowner adjuster, and then move into field adjusting, so you understand all of it, and then you move into the large loss role. So definitely something where you're going to have like several years of experience to even be considered for the role, but it is something that you can consider if you are already in insurance and if you're kind of like looking for like that next step. So large loss adjuster, handling claims 100K plus. Okay, so the last type of claims role that I want to discuss today is going to be that of a claims examiner. So this role is going to be probably the most elite, I would say, of all the roles, because you have to have about 8 to 10 years of experience to get to this point. This is kind of like a trainer on steroids, and they a lot of times will be the ones to like audit the files. So the claims examiner is typically going to be like your claims expert. They're going to know case law. They're going to be able to handle those super complex claims that like you and your manager, and you know, maybe like your manager's manager can't handle. Maybe it's like a super crazy situation that you've never handled before, and so you might have to meet with the claims examiner to kind of discuss it and figure out the best way based on the claim policy, based on previous claims, based on previous laws. You're going to figure out the best way to handle it. So this adjuster, typically, from what I see, they are remote. I don't really see them working in an office, at least these days. Even before, you know, the pan, I saw most of these adjusters essentially being more like a field type role. Like, it's something that you can do from home, and you're essentially there to kind of like help the adjusters. You're there to help the managers, things like that. So these people sometimes do audit the files, and the reason why that's important is because they're making sure that you are doing everything that you're supposed to in your claim, because every so often the Department of Insurance actually does an audit. Like, there is kind of like state audits, I guess they call them, where like the Department of Insurance will check your files and you could get dinged, not you per se, but the insurance company gets dinged, which can in turn affect like maybe your performance review or something like that. But they'll get dinged if they're not following things the correct way. So sometimes these claims examiners, they do what's called kind of like a mock audit before these real audits, to kind of let you know, hey, you missed this, upload this, that kind of thing. So it's like you'll still kind of get dinged, but it's not as serious as like the Department of Insurance coming to audit your files. So these are kind of the people that you are going to want to go to if you have any type of like claims question, or you just want to make sure that everything is good in your file. So with the claims examiner, I see like in order to do this role, you need to have your I's dotted and your T's crossed. These are the people that that make sure that we are following everything that we need to follow. They're making sure that essentially we're making the right decisions on the claims, all of that stuff. So this is a good position if, again, if you love claims and if you want to kind of take it to that highest level, and if you consider yourself an expert, it's up to interpretation. But typically, if you've been handling claims for 8 to 10 years, you're going to be an expert. So it's definitely something that, you know, you can go into. If you don't want to be customer facing, you're not going to be customer facing. It's really more like an internal type role, just kind of like a really good next step if you want to stay in claims and you just don't want to be like on the like the front end side. This is a good role for somebody like that. All right, you guys, so that is all that I have for you today. Again, I just want to do this video just to kind of show you that there are so many different roles that you can go into in the insurance industry. It's not all about being a claims adjuster or even a field adjuster. There's so many different avenues that you can take. And I know for some people, like some people that I've talked to, like at work, outside of work and all that stuff, like sometimes people just don't want to be customer facing. Sometimes people don't mind being customer facing, but they want to do it in another capacity. Sometimes you just be over claims, you know. So even if you work in the industry and you just want something different, there are so many different avenues that you can go to. And then also different companies have different types of roles. So the ones that I explained today are like kind of like your more common roles, but different insurance companies may even offer more broad roles than what I even discussed today. I will try to do another one of these videos if I can kind of think of some other roles that kind of differ from these, because at this point I've given y'all 10, and you know, I do my little comparison videos where I'll compare like 2 or 3 different roles, so you can kind of know like what this person does, and like what would be best for you. But if there's anything that you want me to compare or you want me to talk about, definitely leave a comment below. Let me know. Also, for those of you that are interested in my little upcoming insurance community, I will have emails going out shortly, like within the next few weeks, just about our first meeting. I want to do it either on Microsoft Teams or Zoom. I haven't decided yet, but I want it to be something where, you know, if you want to turn your camera on, you can. I'm going to have my camera on, obviously, because I'll be hosting it, but I will kind of just like email all of those people that reached out to me saying they want to be a part of it. And if you have not emailed me and this is your first time hearing about it, definitely send me an email. I will leave my email below here, and I will also leave it in the description box, so definitely check there. Send me an email, let me know that you want to be a part of it, and I will reach out to you with details and instructions. Now, if you enjoy this video, please go on ahead and give me a thumbs up. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm. If you haven't already subscribed and you don't mind subscribing, go on ahead and click that subscribe button below. Be sure to turn on your notifications so you don't miss anything from me. And with that being said, you guys have an amazing day, and I'll see you next time.
You mad that they don't salute you. I need a bag, size is super. They turned your back, it's like I never knew you.